Good evening, I'm Janelle Amasa. Ian is away. Tonight, grab your tickets and proof of vaccination. Many Canadian travelers will soon need to be double vaxxed.
Canadians deserve to feel confident when traveling that the environment around them is safe.
A sweeping vaccine mandate is coming. Who will it apply to? The Taliban seizes more of Afghanistan. A desperate surge to the border.
The situation has all the hallmarks of a humanitarian catastrophe.
And a civilian crisis. The anxiety for those with loved ones trapped in the conflict.
They are hopeless, they're in fear.
And why the Taliban is a new and more dangerous force. Scorching heat and wildfire smoke in BC.
The heat is pretty bad, yeah. It feels really suffocating.
What's in store for Canada's West? This is The National. We begin tonight with Canada's battle against COVID-19's accelerating fourth wave. As cases spike across the country, a major announcement from Ottawa today. For some, getting vaccinated is no longer a choice. Starting as soon as next month, all 300,000 plus federal employees must be vaccinated. Tens of thousands of federally regulated transportation workers, and it doesn't stop there. If you're planning to travel by plane, train, or cruise ship, you will soon be required to prove vaccination. Now, while Canadians are overwhelmingly in favor of getting vaccines, they are divided on making them mandatory. So the move is not without its critics. Travis Danraj looks into the plan and the reaction to it.
International travel may be already ramping back up despite fourth wave fears, but now a new requirement for many travelers.
Canadians deserve to feel confident when traveling that the environment around them is safe.
Commercial air travelers, interprovincial rail passengers, and anyone overnighting on a marine vessel like a cruise ship will soon have to be fully vaccinated. Reaction among Canadians is mixed.
I think it's outrageous. I really do. I believe that if somebody feels they need to get vaccinated, if they're vaccinated, what's wrong with me not being vaccinated?
You're in close quarters in a plane, and I think it's important that people are safe.
The government hasn't given an exact timeline for when employees of federally regulated air, rail, and marine sectors will need to be fully vaccinated, but said it could be as soon as next month, just like federal employees. The timeline is even less clear for Canadian travelers.
What we now have to get into in great detail is actually the details of it, because of course the details are going to matter.
With the Prime Minister expected to call an election on Sunday, mandatory shots could become an issue on the campaign trail. The Conservatives have maintained vaccination is a personal choice.
It's mainly a target at the Conservatives to force Erin O'Toole either to agree with these mandates or not. And there's risk on both sides of that, I think, for the Conservative leader in particular.
Politics aside, some infectious disease experts say it's a wise move.
Pushing these mandates forward is a great way to move a large chunk of individuals who aren't vaccinated or only partially vaccinated to get fully vaccinated quickly, which is what we need to do with Delta.
So, Travis, aside from federal civil servants and those in the transportation industry, the transport minister also said the government's looking at mandating vaccines for other industries it regulates. So what do we know about that tonight?
Yeah, he did, and we're talking about a lot of different sectors, a lot of people, everything from the banking industry to telecommunications. He essentially said that it is going to be up to employers to come up with a mandatory vaccine requirement, that the federal government is going to work with employers on a plan. But on timing, that big question, and implementation, still no specifics. Janella?
All right, thanks, Travis. Travis Danraj in Ottawa tonight. Well, by any measure, Canada's fourth wave is clearly building steam. Canada reported 2,400 plus new cases today, up from the day before. Most are in its four largest provinces. Ontario with 500 for the second day, while Quebec is back over 400 today. And take a look at BC, over 700 new cases today, 200 more than yesterday. Alberta also climbing, but not as dramatically, with just under 600 new infections. Well, not long ago, Alberta was full steam ahead when it came to removing COVID safety measures. But now, with climbing cases and weeks of public outcry, it's putting both feet on the brakes. Elise Von Schiel has that story tonight.
A decision and now a reversal. Alberta won't be removing its remaining COVID measures on Monday. Today, the province's chief medical officer says new information has changed her mind.
We are not going backwards. We are pausing to monitor and assess before taking a next step forward.
Originally, isolation and widespread testing protocols were set to be axed next week. But with hospitalization rates 62% higher than expected and troubling data from the U.S. about COVID infections in children, Alberta will now hold the course until at least September 27th, something the opposition NDP and thousands of Albertans have been pushing for.
It is a political decision by the government of Alberta. And I truly believe that indeed, again, we are seeing that Jason Kenney and the UCP are putting Albertans in these awkward and difficult positions because of their own political motives.
Hinshaw apologized yet again for creating anxiety about these measures and for not being more forthcoming with the data informing her decisions. Experts say this rollback is essential.
A lot of the problem was because this seemed like it was too much too soon, and the basis for the decisions and the communication around that really weren't there to the degree they needed to be.
With a return to school proceeding at full speed, vaccination clinics will be set up for students grades 7 to 12. But Alberta will not set any provincial restrictions like masking for schools, instead leaving it up to individual school boards to decide what measures they want, causing concern among parents.
It was hard for me to hear that everything is going to be going back to normal, that everything will be back to normal, because I have concerns about the policy that masks will no longer be mandatory.
Alberta is sinking into the fourth wave with the rest of Canada, but the government remains confident the vaccination rates here justifies moving forward, just slower than originally promised. Elise Von Schiel, CBC News, Calgary.
Tonight, Taliban forces have the Afghan government backed into a corner. Its sphere of influence seems to be shrinking by the hour as its people are thrown into greater uncertainty and danger. So much has happened in just over a week. You can see how the Taliban has tightened its grip on the country, claiming control of huge swaths of territory and seizing all but 4 major cities. As you're about to see, it's also gaining new tools for propaganda as it seeks to remove all doubt that victory is certain. Carolyn Dunn has the latest developments in the ongoing siege, and she looks ahead to what's in store as those insurgents close in on total control.
Fighters and supporters of the insurgency celebrate the fall of Kandahar. Propaganda the Taliban is happy to share on social media. They are not so keen to show the looming humanitarian crisis. More than 240,000 displaced, food and medicine are scarce.
We're also seeing the number of civilian casualties really spiraling alarmingly, and an increasing proportion of women and children are among those that are targeted.
Recently won rights for women and girls are evaporating.
My heart is actually bleeding. It turns into pieces when I see the same country that we have actually put our blood and treasure, our energy is being shattered.
Now, Taliban insurgents are closer to taking their fight to the capital.
Urban warfare in Kabul would be catastrophic. One can only imagine with horror what it would look like in Kabul, a city whose population, in a sense, is increasing on a regular basis because of the fighting going on outside of the city.
Meantime, peace talks that were supposed to backstop the withdrawal of U.S. and other foreign troops appear deadlocked.
That was delusional, in fact.
The security expert says the Taliban is a proxy for al-Qaeda, and it is looking at Afghanistan to launch a comeback as a global security threat.
We've seen throughout history that what happens there doesn't stay there, and we're already seeing the ramifications of this play out globally.
With so much at stake, this from the UN Secretary General.
This is the moment to halt the offensive. This is the moment to start serious negotiation. This is the moment to avoid a prolonged civil war or the isolation of Afghanistan.
So, Carolyn, what's the outlook for Kabul? How long can it remain under government control?
It depends on who you're talking to. Some experts believe that in the absence of an 11th hour political settlement, Kabul could be attacked by the Taliban within days or, worst case scenario, even hours. But a spokesperson for the U.S. Pentagon says its intelligence is that Kabul is not under imminent threat. Of course, we know it's only taken a week for the Taliban to control more than half of the Afghan capitals. And perhaps even more telling than that, the U.S., the United Kingdom, and Canada all have military assets preparing to take their embassy staff out of the capital city.
We will be watching this situation. Carolyn Dunn in Washington tonight. Thank you. Meanwhile, Canada faces increasing pressure to help Afghans under threat, especially those who helped Canada during its combat mission in Kandahar province. Today, the government announced a new program that aims to resettle 20,000 people. Evan Dyer shows us why critics say it's too little too late.
The video from Kandahar is unverified, but consistent with reports from other places that have fallen to the Taliban that insurgents are hunting people they see as collaborators and killing them. An aircraft arrived in Canada today carrying an unknown number of Afghan evacuees, but evacuations are becoming increasingly unsafe.
It seems like we're at the end game now. Embassies are closing, passport offices are closed, and now it's turning into a complete and utter downfall of the Afghan regime.
Morrow's former interpreter is Abdul. He's now safe in hotel quarantine in London. His parents and 4 siblings are displaced people on the run in Kabul. We've concealed his identity.
I don't care about myself right now. I'm okay. So I can't sleep. I'm really thinking in the whole night. I can't sleep it.
One brother, who also worked for the Canadian Army, is safe in Whitby, Ontario, but has similar nights.
I sleep at 2, 3 o'clock. I wake up in the morning and I see news. I keep track of news and everything is like, there's no good news.
Morrow says it will soon be every man for himself, and now is the time to start landing and loading more planes.
I'd be there in a minute if I could. This is something that touches, I think, a lot of us as veterans because we fought so hard in that part of the world for so long. To be able to close out the mission with some human beings, some Afghans showing up to Canada, starting a new life.
Today, the government announced a new program to bring 20,000 Afghan refugees to Canada. Advocates for the interpreters say the government needs to focus on the job it's already behind on. A statement from the group Not Left Behind said Canada had the opportunity to safely rescue interpreters and other locally employed staff that supported Canada. Today's response comes in the 11th hour. We're worried it's too little, too late. Veterans say Canada would help more by authorizing rescue missions and waiving some of its paperwork, because everyone in Kabul is now living on borrowed time. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Chelsea, Quebec.
Women and girls face a particular threat under Taliban rule. Our expert panel will look into that a bit later, and we'll get new details on how the insurgents planned ahead to lay the groundwork for their swift advance. Well, meanwhile, Canadians across the country are dealing with extreme heat. From Atlantic Canada to the Pacific, in BC, the heat coupled with thick smoke is creating dangerous conditions. Karen Pauls shows us what it looks like and how the province is coping.
People living in one of BC's wildfire hotspots are at the local hockey arena for a bit of exercise and some relief.
Very, very smoky, very difficult breathing if you have some issues, as I do, and also getting to be very, very hot.
The air in here is quite good and cool.
The wildfire smoke that has choked BC's interior has now moved to the coast. Some areas have more than 20 times the healthy limit of fine particle pollution. It comes just in time for the province's 3rd heat wave of the summer.
But the heat is pretty bad, yeah. It's like, it feels really like suffocating.
With the air quality, obviously we have to watch our time outside, right?
You can usually see the mountains in the distance. The air smells a bit like a bonfire, stinging the eyes and throat. It's a bit of a catch-22. If you stay inside to avoid the poor air quality, you're at risk of the extreme heat.
There's a high risk of mortality amongst people if they don't take precautions.
This health official says in the midst of a heat emergency, the temperature and air quality are bigger health risks than COVID-19.
People should not be worried about going to cooling centers, regardless of how many people are there. You don't have to worry about physically distancing. Do not wear a mask if you're having trouble breathing. Do not be afraid to go and check on your neighbor.
Nearly 600 British Columbians died of heat-related causes during June's extended heat wave. Officials say they're better prepared this time.
A lot of it really is getting messaging out to individuals, especially individuals that are living alone, that having somebody check up on them.
According to the World Air Quality Index, Vancouver's air pollution is the second worst in the world today. Less than a year ago, in September, the city topped that list, and wildfire season is still far from over. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Vancouver.
All right, let's check in with CBC meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff. Joe, put this into perspective for us. Just how bad is this?
Well, Janella, first of all, it was another record-setting hot day across the South Coast. We broke dozens of new daily temperature records yesterday, smashing August all-time temperature records for places like Victoria and Squamish just north of Vancouver. Temperatures only a couple of degrees cooler than where we were at in the heat dome late June. But the added factor today, certainly, Janella, the wildfire smoke. Take a look at how dense that smoke looked today across Metro Vancouver. Really the first time that the South Coast has seen the wildfire smoke all season, challenging the record levels we saw back in September 2020. So air quality advisories in place. And Janella, it's the same setup, the outflow winds bringing the heat and the smoke from the fires in the interior towards the South Coast tonight. A reminder of what folks in the interior have been dealing with for weeks.
And looking ahead, how does the situation look over the next few days?
Janella, we are waiting for a cold front with much anticipation. Sunday, that should sweep out some of this smoke here on the South Coast. It is also causing concern for firefighters in the interior. That cold front likely to spark up lightning strikes, possibly meaning new fires and very gusty winds for the current wildfire situation. But coming out of that early next week, hoping for some cooler temperatures, and with that shift in the jet stream, Janella, hopefully coast to coast, the whole country feeling a bit of relief coming out of an exceptionally hot week for millions of Canadians.
All right, CBC meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff. Thanks for that, Joe.
You're welcome.
Hot and dry weather has taken a huge toll on the prairies. Experts say the current drought is likely to be the worst in Canadian history. As Bonnie Allen shows us, the conditions have not only impacted farmers' livelihoods, but threatened global food security.
This should probably be some of our weakest stuff.
Derek Talon's lentil crop didn't stand a chance this year. It had very little rain, then was blasted by the heat, the wind, and then grasshoppers too.
Yeah, so there's only a handful of lentils here. The grasshoppers have shelled out a lot of what was here. Production is down to almost nothing.
With harvest underway, it's the worst yield he's ever had.
This year I'd say our farm will be around 20 to 25% of normal production, so down like say 75-80% production.
A financial hit for prairie farmers, but also less food for the world.
They called it the Hungry 30s.
Compared to the 1930s, today's drought in Canada is shaping up to be more severe and more widespread.
And for food security, we have to look at this globally as well. There are severe droughts in the Mediterranean region, in Kazakhstan, in Russia, of course in the western U.S.
These days, farming innovations help growers squeeze out more crop with less moisture, but with limits.
We've got a crop failure on our hands right now.
After 50 years of farming, Barry Reisner says he's prepared for it.
We have had a number of good crops in the last 10 years or so. It shouldn't be a surprise that they can't all be good.
But he worries about farmers who may also be facing financial penalties. Some have signed contracts with grain companies months ago to guarantee shipments and price.
Farmers that have signed those contracts don't have the grain to deliver, and they have a commitment that they can't meet.
As for Talon, he's both a realist and an optimist. The low production of cereal grains and oilseeds is driving up prices to record levels on the world market.
That's our hope right now, is that we grow a crop next year and we can capitalize on the price increases that we've seen.
He's resilient even when his crops aren't. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan has become the 8th jurisdiction to sign on to the federal childcare plan.
Within 5 years, Saskatchewan will have 28,000 new regulated early learning and childcare spaces for children under 6.
Ottawa says nearly $1.1 billion in funding will help cut childcare costs in the province by half by the end of next year, with the goal of averaging $10 a day daycare by 2026. As the U.S. authorizes a third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine for some, is Canada next?
I think they should get on with it, look at the data.
Up next, the urgent push to protect the vulnerable. Is Blackberry ready for a comeback?
I hope that they learn the lesson from the smartphone.
What's driving new optimism for the tech company? And experiencing a summer tradition for the very first time.
This is the first time of camping, so I'm really excited about that.
We're back in 2.
My thoughts are very much with the families of all those who have tragically lost their lives. An absolutely appalling incident.
Britain's Prime Minister reacting to the tragic mass shooting in southwest England on Thursday. Police say in the span of 12 minutes, a gunman killed 5 people, including his own mother, before turning the gun on himself. 3 unrelated adults and a 3-year-old girl were among the victims. 2 more people were injured. It's believed to have started as a domestic dispute. A massive search and rescue operation is underway in northern Turkey as the death toll from severe floods and mudslides rose to nearly 40 today. President Erdogan visited the affected region as criticism grows over the government's handling of both the deadly floods and widespread wildfires that have ravaged the country over the past month. At least 27 people have tested positive for COVID-19 aboard a Carnival cruise in the Caribbean. The ship is carrying over 1,400 crew and nearly 3,000 passengers. It's now on its way back to Texas. Officials say all those infected were vaccinated as it was a requirement. They are in isolation with mild or no symptoms. Well, as Canada's 4th wave intensifies, there is growing push to approve booster shots for Canadians with compromised immune systems. New research indicates they can provide significant extra protection. Vicodopia looks at where the triple shot debate stands in this country.
Alan Silverman has been double vaccinated, but he still worries about winding up in the hospital. He has cancer and has had a stem cell transplant. Like 3% of Canadians, his immune system is compromised, which means if he gets COVID-19,
super high hospitalization rate and mortality rate. And also the vaccine, it's iffy as far as how much it protects us.
in most people, vaccines help build antibodies that fight off the coronavirus and prevent illness. But many immunocompromised people don't produce enough antibodies or any at all. So drug regulators in the U.S. say they need a third shot.
An additional dose could help increase protection for these individuals, which is especially important as the Delta variant spreads.
Officials in the U.S. point out the third shot isn't exactly a booster. Rather, it's a follow-up dose meant to give immunocompromised people the same level of protection the rest of us get from being double vaccinated. The decision is supported by a new Canadian clinical trial involving patients who are immunocompromised.
60 patients got a third dose of Moderna and 60 patients got a placebo. And what we found is that there was a very dramatic difference in terms of benefit. We looked at multiple aspects of the immune system.
55% of the vaccinated group saw their antibody levels go up, and T cells, which fight off severe symptoms, also increased substantially.
Getting a booster shot, getting my antibodies up to a level where I could approach that of a normal person who's been vaccinated would be amazing.
Health officials in Canada are now considering all the research.
I think they should get on with it, look at the data. I think there's plenty of data available. And now they have the example of the FDA, so I think they should move on with this.
Until they move, some Canadians still won't feel protected. Vicodopia, CBC News, Toronto.
Next, we return to the crisis in Afghanistan as the Taliban continues to sweep the country.
Friends and family are terrified. They feel abandoned.
A Canadian on what she's hearing from loved ones on the ground. Plus, how did the Taliban gain so much ground so quickly, even after 20 years of war?
Afghanistan is spinning out of control.
Today, these Taliban fighters reveled in their conquest of major Afghan cities. They now command all but a handful.
Tragic beyond belief, but it's both predicted and predictable.
So how did the extremists gain so much ground so fast? Our expert panel will explain what happened behind the scenes to bring this country to its knees. But first, Canadians with roots in Afghanistan have their own challenges. Watching from such a safe distance, they can feel unbearable guilt. Earlier today, I spoke with Nilofer Mansouri, a law student and activist. Her phone has been buzzing nonstop as friends and family send her videos and messages from the heart of the catastrophe.
I'm disheartened to think that they feel abandoned.
Yesterday, the news broke about what was happening, and what was that like for you watching?
It was really tough. So I was hearing that Kandahar had fallen, that the Taliban overtook Kandahar, and that they were on their way to Kabul. I saw it through friends' stories who were keeping us updated, heard it through voice notes, received messages from several friends on the ground, and it was devastating because if Kandahar, one of the main provinces of Afghanistan, was overtaken and they're on their way to Kabul, it almost feels as though there's no hope left.
You have friends there that you're in contact with? Canadians who have gone back?
Canadian friends who have gone back, as well as Afghans that have been born and raised there, and family as well. They're in a grave danger.
You were asking your friend, right? Mm-hmm. And she was saying she was worried. It might put my family at risk. I've already got a few threats. I don't want them to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. So it's a real fear about the consequence of speaking up. What are you hearing from your friends and from your family?
A lot of them are in fear. A lot of them are really worried that they're not going to be able to get out. Friends and family are terrified. They feel abandoned. They feel as though they've been left behind. And the sense of obligation that they have, and the reason why some of them don't want to come back home, is that survivor's guilt that I think we as Afghans across the world are feeling right now. It's rampant amongst all of them.
How hard is it to be so far away? And
yeah, it's hard.
What's your biggest fear about what will happen to your friends and your family?
Now it's just like, it feels like we're just speaking to ourselves. Like, it feels like nobody's listening. And as someone who's so fortunate and grateful to be a Canadian and to have been born here, there's such a burden of guilt. Like, that could have been me. It could have been my father. Could have been my mother. Like, they worked so hard to come to this country. They sacrificed so much. But by doing that, it's almost as though so many people abandoned the nation. There's that feeling as well of guilt, and again, hopelessness, helplessness. And so what is the solution here, right? The solution can't be on the Afghan community. The Afghan community is grieving right now. We need the support of others. We need the support of the international community, leaders, and we need a solution for this as soon as possible.
You say you feel a lot of guilt.
Yeah, overwhelming guilt.
And it could have been you.
It could have been me, yeah. I see my mom's eyes in them. I see my sister's eyes in them. I see my eyes. I see my family, you know? So, yeah, such a shame.
All right, let's take a deeper look at why it took so little time for Afghanistan to get to this brink of utter despair, and we'll give you a better sense of what the Afghan people are going through tonight. Joining me now is Asma Faizi. She's president of the Afghan Women's Organization, and Murray Brewster, our senior defense writer here at CBC. Hi to both of you. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Hello.
Asma, I'll begin with you. You know, women have been a big part of the reason that the international community said they intervened to begin with. So what are you hearing now about how they're being directly impacted on the ground in Afghanistan?
Well, we've heard from many Afghan human rights defenders, women leaders, and parliamentarians that the situation is quite dire. Their lives are at immediate risk, and they're calling on the international community in Canada to help get them out. They have been in some of the provinces that we've been speaking to as the Taliban have taken over. They have gone into hiding, And they're essentially trapped inside Afghanistan because the borders have also been closed down. We've been hearing the Taliban have restricted movement of women. They are forcing young women and widows to marry Taliban fighters. They have closed many of these schools that had been open for young Afghan girls.
Murray, you've been speaking with several experts about the crisis there. Are they surprised by this resurgence by the Taliban? And can you take us through how this was able to happen?
A lot of people who have been studying Afghanistan for years are really not surprised to see what's happened. I think what they're surprised at is the speed with which Afghan security forces have collapsed. And some of the experts have suggested that there is foreign influence. There had to be someone from outside of Afghanistan to create a military strategy to be able to conquer Afghanistan the way that they have in the last few weeks. The other aspect, which is most interesting and specific to Afghanistan, is the system of tribal politics. And it's been suggested by some experts that there have been deals cut with some of the tribes that used to support the government to get them to be sitting on the sides, and that the Taliban have been allowed to have free passage through some of these areas.
Asma, we've heard this term, the new Taliban, referring to a more organized sort of group in the way that Murray's talking about. What do you make of that? And it also begs the question then, should the U.S. have stayed? I think it's a difficult question for Afghans who want their own autonomy but have, mixed feelings about foreign sort of interventions.
Yeah. It's not that they should have stayed, but they should have stayed long enough to make sure that there was the negotiation process happened in such a way that it ensured that there was going to be a peaceful transition. I think the problem is that the Afghan security forces, the government has essentially been left on its own. They're not able to defend the people of Afghanistan. And, as Murray mentioned, there's a lot of regional interference inside Afghanistan. And so, a lot of people have been calling on the international community to put pressure on regional partners, including our neighboring countries, including Pakistan, to compel the Taliban to come to a ceasefire so that there could be, they could come back to the negotiation process, and we can have a true process with the full participation of women and minorities, so that whatever the solution that comes out can be sold to the people of Afghanistan, that it's acceptable to them because they were part of that process of creating it.
Murray, did the U.S. and Canada do enough, and what's our role now?
Well, Canada has been out of Afghanistan since 2014, and the country has been essentially supporting Afghan institutions like the army with money and with advice and logistical support in some cases. But it has been the United States which has been the principal driver of the peace process. And I fully agree with the fact that the United States should not have walked away from Afghanistan without some kind of peace deal. And it was evident to anybody who was watching the peace process that the Taliban were simply playing for time. When the conference opened last September, and the lack of progress over the fall just was an indicator that the Taliban were waiting for the withdrawal of foreign international military forces, because that is something that they have asked for almost from the beginning. That has been a Taliban demand for decades. They would not talk to the Afghan government until foreign forces were out of the country. Well, they got their wish, and this is what's happening.
Asma, just a few moments left. What's your message at the end of the day as all of this is unfolding?
So people, they're flooding Kabul. There are people living on the streets of Kabul. They are sleeping. They have no food, no water. What really needs to be done, that there should be bilateral, multilateral meetings and events that deal with the immediate focus on the human rights and humanitarian crisis that is happening there. For those women that are left behind, for those women that were encouraged to defend human rights and be elected to be in parliament, those women are at immediate risk, and we need to make sure that the Canadian government or the Canadian forces that are on the ground right now, before they leave, they at least take those women with them. We're not talking about 50 million women. We're talking about hundreds of women who are at immediate risk that have been calling out for the Canadian government to make sure that they're taken out of Afghanistan.
All right, Asma Faizi, Murray Brewster, thanks to both of you for your time tonight. When we come back, a Canadian tech company trying to make a comeback. Blackberry ditches the smartphone for the smart car. Why it's hoping that could help turn it all around. That's next. Blackberry, once known for its smartphones, has been working on something entirely different: software for automated cars. Philippe de Montigny shows us how the Canadian tech company intends to be a leader in self-driving technology.
Since shifting away from smartphones to focus on software, Blackberry's planning a major comeback. The company recently teamed up with Amazon to build a new platform for smart cars, Blackberry Ivy, collecting data in real time and making automated suggestions to drivers.
You can look at things like traffic congestion or offering new services to your customers, like being able to recommend where there's an open parking space based on where you're at currently.
Tesla, one of the biggest competitors in the space, currently has less than 2 million cars on the road worldwide. BlackBerry's operating system, which Ivy builds on, is embedded in nearly 100 times more vehicles.
It's a big advantage for BlackBerry to already be in close to 200 million smart vehicles right now. They have much more data points, much more data that they can use to improve their systems compared to Tesla.
A competitive edge that could position BlackBerry as a leader in self-driving technology, a new field that has a lot of real-world issues still to solve. But this expert warns not to get complacent.
I hope that they learn the lesson from the smartphone, not thinking that they're too big to fail.
Last year, the company invested nearly a quarter of its revenue into research and development.
We also, in the last year, filed and were granted around 2,000 patents. So we're continuing to truly innovate.
The next hurdle, though, turning that innovation into profit. The Waterloo, Ontario company has been running at a loss for the past 9 quarters.
Whenever you get these gigantic transformations of companies that are completely abandoning their only source of revenue, the stock market typically doesn't like that.
Except this year, the price of BlackBerry's shares surged out of nowhere at the end of January and again here in June. All thanks to a committed group of Reddit investors like the ones that pumped up GameStop and AMC Theaters stocks earlier this year. New investment and excitement for a company looking to make a meaningful move in technology once again. Philippe de Montigny, CBC News, Waterloo.
Next on The National, a different sort of Canadian business makeover story.
I make something that nobody needs at prices no one can afford.
So this acclaimed potter decided to do something different during the pandemic, his reinvention in the face of COVID-19. That's after the break.
I'm Jamie Poisson. Join me for CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner. Every weekday, Front Burner takes you deep into the stories shaping Canada and the world. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, from changing careers to moving away, the pandemic has given many people an opportunity to reinvent themselves. For one famous potter, that meant trading clay for flour. In this story we first brought you last summer, Nick Purdon introduces us to a man who found joy in baking cakes.
It's all new and it's full of potential. It's satisfying that need that I have and that habit of making things.
This is a story about how the pandemic gave Bill Reddick a chance at a new life and how he went for it.
There's just unknown possibilities with where this could go, and it's just so much fun. This is Canada's official state dinnerware.
Until a few months ago, Bill was a potter. In fact, he was one of the most famous potters in the country.
These plates reside at Rideau Hall and are used whenever a world leader is being served over the past 15 years.
Well, it might be surprising that Canada even has official state dinnerware.
These are...
What's more surprising is that the potter that rose that high still couldn't make ends meet.
I don't own a car. I don't have any savings. I don't own anything. It's tough. It is really tough. I make something that nobody needs at prices no one can afford.
For Bill, it was difficult enough to make a living as a potter, and then COVID hit. Galleries closed, art shows dried up. There was nowhere for him to sell his pottery.
That's where I was at, and it stopped right there. I just thought, I'm finished. You know, I just don't have the resources to carry myself through. My house that we're renting with a hope to buy will go. Like everything will go.
But in the crisis, Bill was able to see an opportunity. He had a chance to reinvent himself.
I was free to explore something that I know had a lot of potential, and also had this potential of providing me with a living, which the pottery couldn't possibly do.
That something was cake. And not just any cake. Bill turned to a memory from his childhood.
It's because of a craving I had for a slice of cake that my mom used to buy in the 1960s. It was called the French chocolate square. It was 85 cents, and I was literally addicted to it. This fudge icing is really the whole reason I'm doing this. Magnificent fudgy dark icing. It's made with just cocoa, sugar, and water.
How has your life changed since you started doing the cakes?
I'm just a lot happier. I'm as happy as I've been with my pottery in the past. It's the excitement of something new. This is the first coat.
And just a few months into his new life, he's selling cakes, but he's not exactly where he wants to be just yet.
So there's a finished cake. I want to be able to sell 40 or 50 cakes a week because I can do that myself. And that would be enough to change my life. I don't have a goal to make it into a big business.
At $50 a cake, Bill figures he can support himself. He ships his cakes all over the country. And he hasn't made pottery in months.
I'm surprised how I simply don't miss making pottery. Like, I just don't. What we're going to do now is go on to the next stage, the final stage, which is icing the top. I'm really having a great time. I'm happy. I mean, I have to apologize to the rest of the world. This COVID period has been a very happy period for me.
None of us will be the same when the pandemic is over. There will always be before and after COVID in our lives. As for Bill, well,
I don't think I'll go back to my old life. I'm going to carry on with the cake. It's going to be a new way of doing things.
Nick Purdon, CBC News, Peterborough, Ontario.
The Moment is up next on The National. Tonight, newcomers to the country try out an iconic Canadian outdoor experience with little help from some experts.
The Canadian Elite Basketball Championship. Celebrate our game. Who will take home the coveted trophy? Quarterfinals begin Saturday at 4 on CBC and CBC Gem. An event not to be missed.
Campfires, s'mores, putting up a tent. It's all part of the Canadian camping experience. And thanks to Park Canada's initiation program, newcomers to the country are getting to try out this Canadian pastime. The Learn to Camp program, in partnership with the PEI Association for Newcomers to Canada, is setting campers up for success by removing barriers and teaching wilderness basics. And it's being met with a lot of love. Tonight, that's our moment.
This is the first time of camping, so I'm really excited about that.
We are in Cavendish Campground in Prince Edward Island National Park. So Learn to Camp is a program where we bring people who, for their first camping experience, and we teach them everything there is to know about camping, and to have some of those really wonderful traditional experiences in a way that feels really supported.
I think it was really fun. You should do it once in a lifetime. You should go try it.
Sleeping over, I think that's something that you have to literally try, like at least once, like what she said.
Just sleeping in the tent is just awesome. There's a lot of mosquitoes, but it's really fun.
What's more traditional for a camping experience than ending with s'mores?
A lot of mosquitoes, but really fun. That about sums up my camping experiences. Those kids are so cute. And if you want to take part in the Parks Canada Learn to Camp, it is impacted by COVID, so there's a wait list every year, but it's happening in PEI, Halifax, and Vancouver. Well, that's the National for this August 13th. I'm Janelle Massa. Have a good night.